Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to paint up a Cadian shock trooper in the colors of the Cadian 501st. This is a color scheme that I designed a while back now for my Universal Guard, if you've seen it on my Instagram account, and I'm translating it to the new Cadians here. I'm starting a project that is the recreation of my army that I had as a child. So that was the Cadian 501st, and here we go. We are going to start off with a primer sprayed through an airbrush of AK's gray primer. This is a really nice desaturated gray tone that is a little bit lighter than the normal grays that I use, but I find that when I use these desaturated grays, they work very, very well for the Speedpaint 2.0 set. It helps get a lot better blending and a lot better results overall. And with that undercoat dry, we are going to jump in with an all-over wash on the fatigues of a 1-to-1 mix of Ashen Gray and Bony Matter. I really love these colors together. It makes a really nice khaki color that is going to be a staple of mine going forward, I have a feeling. And as you can see here, we get a lovely khaki color from the combo of those two. The Ashen Gray just really desaturates that Bony Matter and gives you this lovely color. So that being said, we're going to continue with the desaturated colors. We're going to move on to Noble Skin, which is once again another Army Painter 2.0 speed paint color. Really love this color. It's a nice dark desaturated brown. I think this is going to become a staple for me as well going forward. For anyone that's used contrast paints or speed paints or express paints, you notice that a lot of them are very vibrant. They have very warm tones to them to help make those models really pop. And anybody that likes to paint in more desaturated tones or to get that really worn, gritty feel, a lot of colors were missing, and that's something that I really like about the 2.0 paints. There's a lot of desaturated paints. There's a lot of really nice colors that you can use, especially for Astra Militarum or any military schemes. As you can see, we get a really lovely result from just one coat of that Noble Skin. And we are going to move on to painting the flesh. And here we're going to start with Aged Hide, another speed paint. We're just going to hit those areas of the skin. And once again, it gives us a really good base coat in one pass, and don't have to worry about it. All right, you can see here you get a pretty good result for just one coating of speed paint, and for many people this will be one and done. We're going to take it up to the next level in the highlight step, but now we're going to reach for Grim Black speed paint, and we are just going to get anything that's going to be black or silver. So that's going to be the casing of the guns, if they have any grenades, las packs, tools, etc. Just get all that with a good coat of Grim Black. You can see here it's coating lovely. It's doing its job, it's going in all the nooks and crannies, and really makes the process pretty easy. And next up, we are going to reach for AK 3rd Generation Dark Gray. This is going to be the armor color. This is the main gray that everybody asks me about on all my Astra Militarum models. Love this color. Dries pretty nice and dark and has a ever so slight blue hue to it, but really good color. Similar to Mechanicus Standard Gray, just coats awesome, as you can see here. One pass and done. And we go from there. And I didn't use speed paint for the armor. I did in some of my experimenting, but I just couldn't get the right shade that I wanted to have that this lovely gray here. So I think maybe with a little more experimenting and mixing of the colors, which I plan to do in the future, that I'll probably come up with something pretty close. But for the time being, I wanted to get this tutorial out to you guys, so I just reached for the old trusty AK Dark Gray. I wanted to show you guys a really easy tip that if you don't know about can help a lot and save you a lot of time. You can see here I splodged a little bit on the cuff there. I just take some water before it dries and literally just erase it, and there you go. And with the blacks all boxed in, we're going to move on to the silvers. And here we're going to take our AK gunmetal, and we're just going to paint all the raised areas that are going to be silver and leave the black in those recesses. And with the silvers done, we are going to give a little bit of depth to that armor. I'm going to take Gravelord Gray Speedpaint 2.0 and mix it 1:4 with the new Speedpaint medium. And I'm just going to give that a coating over all of the gray areas to add a little bit of definition to them and make things like the rivets, the buckles, and all that stand out, and give you a really good defined line between the fatigues and the gray areas. And now we're going to move on to working on the face. After a face is base coated, the first thing I do is paint the eyes. That way, if there's any mistakes or issues, you can cover it up with your first layer of highlights on the face. So I always start off by taking black paint of your choice and painting in the whole eye black, as you'll see here. And just move the model around so you can get a good spot to get at that other eye, and do the same thing here. Just draw a line straight across it and fill in that whole eye with black. Now with that done, next comes the whites of the eyes. Now you're going to take a off-white of your choice, and you're going to try and put a dot at each corner of the eye. You'll see I get a good dot here, but then my brush is too dry and I run into an issue. I'm tapping it, nothing's coming off, and I finally put a dot down and it's just in the wrong spot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back with a wet brush and add the dot where I want it, and now you'll see a little bit of over painting of the white there, and I'm just going to take some black and redefine the outside of that eye. And now that that's done, you'll see the eye itself looks pretty good, but obviously has a big black mark on the side of his face. So we're going to fix that with the first layer of highlights. We're going to take AK Brown Rose, and we're going to just hit all those high areas. And you can use this as a time to cover up any issues or mistakes that may have happened when you were base coating, and just leave that speed paint showing through in the recesses. Really love Brown Rose for Caucasian skin tones. It works really well, and it blends really nice with the age-tide speed paint. I really like the results I get with this from just one pass and a highlight. Looks great. You can call it one and done. We're going to take it to the next level though and add a little bit of pastel pink to it and highlight it in the next step. But I just want to show you guys here how I fix the eye. So you'll see after I finish the hand here, just add a little bit of highlight. We'll move on to the face itself. And this is just going to be a quick and dirty face just to get it looking pretty good. We're going to hit the high points with the nose, under the eye, and we're just going to paint right around the eye here, leaving a thin black line between the eye and the cheek. And you'll see that the eye looks pretty good after that, and we're all set. And there it is right there. Looks pretty good. So for a line trooper, I'm happy with that. And then we'll move on to finishing up the face. And as you can see here, the skin's looking pretty good. You could easily leave it here for a line trooper. I just love painting skin. Here I'm going to add the 5 o'clock shadow. We're going to take a little bit of that brown rose and just add a little bit of that AK 3rd generation dark gray, and add a tad of water, and then just give it a good base coating all around where you want that 5 o'clock shadow to be. And then we're going to go back with a little bit of that brown rose in the next step and add a little bit of highlights. reach back for that brown rose, and we're just going to add a highlight to the lips, the upper lip, the cheek, and this will help blend that 5 o'clock shadow in and make it look a little more realistic. And now after we did that, you can see the mouth is a little ill-defined, so we're just going to reach for a black, or you can also use a very dark reddish color and just draw that line back in. You know, if this is on a model that's not aiming and the face is easier to access, I usually am able to leave the original speed paint color shining through. So then we're just going to touch up that line a little bit and the lip on the bottom by taking that brown rose and just hitting that bottom lip there and getting that line nice and tight. Now you could easily leave the skin here. I just really love painting skin, so I'm going to take it up another level. Get add a little bit of pastel pink from AK to that brown rose and just really hit the high points. It's going to be the knuckles, you know, areas that the light's going to reflect off of, tip of the nose, you know, top of the lip, bottom of the lip, in the center there, and just help it make it pop a little bit extra. I like to take the time and put a little bit more into the faces of my models. I think it adds a little more interesting factor to them. And with that, the face and skin is done. We are going to move on to finishing up these leathers. Now, you could easily leave the leathers the way they are, but I just want to add a little bit more pop to them. So I reached for AK 3rd Generation Gray Brown. Love this color, desaturated brown, goes very well with noble skin. Makes a really good highlight, as you can see. And you just hit all those high points and add a little more definition to those areas. Yeah, go from there. And with the leathers done, we are going to head on to the fatigues. So this part, I'm going to reach for AK 3rd Generation Warm Gray. This goes really well as a highlight for that base khaki color we got. And you'll see here, I'm just going to hit areas that are, you know, sticking out, any folds, creases, add a little bit more definition to those areas. And you just keep it thin, keep it moving, and you can leave a lot of that speed paint showing through. It does a lot of heavy lifting when it comes to the fatigues. You know, normally fatigues are going to be sometimes 3 to 4 layers all blended on top of each other, but you know, with this method here, you get a pretty good result, and you're literally just doing a base coat and a single highlight. So hit all those folds, keep it moving, and we'll get on to the next step. And you can see on the cuff there, there's a little bit of black speed paint that kind of hit the fatigues on the left hand. I just took a little bit of warm gray and added a smidge, like an ever so slight drop of the dark gray, and just covered it over. And you'll see in the next step, it looks flawless. You don't even know it was ever there. And you can do this for any mistakes or splotches you get while you're going on with the model. And with that one highlight, the fatigues are done. You really have one base coat and one highlight, and you are done, and it looks pretty good. On the tabletop and mask, these are going to look real good. So that being said, we're going to move on to adding some weathering. Here I'm going to reach for my AK 3rd Generation Gunmetal, and I'm just going to really hit any of the raised areas or areas of wear that the black areas would have had. So, you know, where he might grip the gun, the top of the gun where he might bang it on things, the lower edges where he's reloading, that sort of thing. And yeah, we'll just keep it moving, and we're going to get on to doing the armor next. So same thing, we're going to take that gunmetal color, and keeping the tip of your brush pretty sharp, you're just going to dab and poke at areas in the edges, and this will do two things. It'll help simulate highlights, you know, when the light catches it, and it will also give you a really good down and dirty weathered feel. So also I'll show you how to fix it in case you do too much. So here in the breastplate, you can see there's a little too much there. So we're going to take that AK dark gray and just pull it back, just bring it into a nice tight fine line. And you know, if you don't have really good hand skills with the brush, this is an easy way to achieve the same result. And here we're going to move on to doing the shoulder pads. You can see just using the side of the brush, and I'm going to add a couple swipes here just to, you know, give the indication maybe bumped up against something or using a blast. And with that, the armor is done. It looks pretty good. All we have left to do for the armor really is the decals. So now we're going to move on to the las gun ammo indicator here. If you play Dark Tide, you know what this is. We're going to start with a base coat of white, and then we're going to reach for Shamrock green speed paint. Boom, done. One and done. Works really good. And now we're going to move on to finishing up the gray leather areas, I guess I'll call them. You know, on the boots here. We're just going to hit it with English gray, which is an AK 3rd generation acrylic color. And just going to add a little bit of definition to the raised areas there, help it pop a little bit more. With that, the model itself is pretty much done. We'll still do the decals, but let's move on to finishing that base. We're going to reach for AK 3rd generation gray brown. Once again, lovely desaturated brown color. Makes great ground work for whatever you're doing. If you're going to do terrain, bases, anything in the trenches, really good color to reach for. I'm going to go around, just get a good base coat. There you go, looks pretty nice. It's a little bit uneven coverage, but we're going to fix that with a wash. So here I'm going to actually reach for an enamel color. This is AK's new dark wash from the new War Game washes that they are releasing shortly. I really like enamel washes for basing. They give a really good matte finish. This is 2 coats of it, and it looks pretty realistic for dirt. I put a little bit on those rock debris clusters to make them feel a little worn in. And then we're just going to take a black of choice and give the base ring a good coating. And with that done, we're going to move on to the decals. So you can see here I just cut out the Cadian symbol and of course the 501st Regiment designation. And what we do here is I just take a little bit of a tweezer and a small brush and just move it right onto the model. And I'm just going to get it kind of where I want it with the brush. Don't worry too much, just make sure it's where you want it, and then we're going to show you the magic in the next step here. We're going to take this product here that I really love. It's called Mr. Mark Softener. This will actually melt the decal and let it really conform to any twists or turns the model has. On shoulder pads, it just gets them to lay nice and flat. And you can see here, you can just use the end of it to get the decal back where you want it, and then don't touch it, leave it alone. It's actually going to melt that decal, so if you touch it, it'll tear up the paint and everything too. After a little while, once it dries, we're going to seal the whole model with a gloss varnish. This not only will protect it when gaming, but it will also seal those decals in and make them seem seamless. And then to really finish this model, we're going to hit it with our VMS matte varnish, talent in a bottle I call it. It works really, really well. It retains a lot of the colors of the model, but makes it completely matte. Hides a lot of the brush strokes and whatnot. And there you go. Here's a finished trooper of the Cadian 501st, ready to slug it out with the worst the galaxy can throw at the Imperium. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please like, subscribe, and share. I'll keep making these videos as long as you guys enjoy them. Have a good one.